what is happening is that over the past few years, ACP, has grown from different applications where it was only for, basically facade applications. The ACP has now, the architects, are wanting new different things to be, new applications have come in. So now ACP as a product where it started with only, a few portions of a building being used, and now an entire ACP cladded buildings, and now so many different applications in terms of bull nose, and I think, and every now and then I think there is a lot of innovations coming out in the market. There are new different types of ACPs, the wood finish ACPs, the colored ACPs, and all. So I see a lot of different materials coming in terms of only an ACP product. So many different finishes. So I think there are a vast number of ways which this product can be used in so many different applications as such. You're not only seeing it now in the exterior, but predominantly you're seeing it so much more in the interiors as well, where bits and pieces of different finishes of ACP are being used to get a entire different feel to the product. So architects are just using these innovations which you all are bringing into the market, and they're just using it for all different applications. Every time, we're just talking about it, and we're just seeing different applications surfacing, different ways in which this product can be used. And I'm sure that there are a lot more which is coming in. So there are many different applications where we see this we'll be seeing this ACP in many different ways in the coming future. Fabrication definitely plays a major role in the whole facade as such. The beauty of a product can get enhanced only with the right, correct fabrication methods which have to be used. We have seen many projects where ACP and other products have been used, but just because of the wrong fabrication methods, the entire building has the whole feel of the building has come down. So I think a lot of awareness has to be created on the right, correct fabrication methods, and which I see is now slowly happening. A lot of companies are not only with the glass companies, ACP companies such as yours, you all are taking a lot of effort in terms of getting this awareness of the right, correct fabrication methods that need to be used. You know that India is a price conservative market, so you have everyone trying to cut corners somewhere or the other, and in that there are a lot of different new contractors or new companies which are being formed, and somewhere down the line, if some wrong installation method or something can actually ruin a product basically. We've seen ACP at its peak in the best projects, and we've seen it at its worst also. And I don't see it anywhere the fault of a product, but it's just the wrong installation or technique. Probably even the application of that product should not have been there for a particular but it's wrongly been used. So it's just, I think, more and more learning for every day is a learning for everyone, and once more and more companies are getting more and more familiar with the right, correct fabrication methods this product can be used, definitely you can be rest assured that the architects will get the feel that they are actually they want for the product. Earlier, the whole facade industry has now been given a lot of importance slowly, and this is still growing. In fact, this is now being taken up. I was talking to a few architects, and this is now being taken up in a much more serious way in their studies as well. Earlier, facade was something which was not much debated about or spoken about, even in the architectural and interior studies. And now more and more you can see that we also have so many more students and all from different colleges, architectural colleges, who are coming up to us for better understanding that how does this product fit, what is exactly a facade, what is basically an ACP facade, what is range scheme principles and everything. There are now and more architects and interior designers, you can see young students coming up with all these things. And we've seen this, that we've also spoken to a lot many, and we've understood that this is now being taken up in a much more serious way in their colleges. So more and more people are getting to more understand what a facade is now. So as and when a person comes to know what the correct fabrications, what is required basically, I think this will definitely, the gap will reduce. Another thing is that also that yes, in the absence of a consultant on board is when you actually need a good fabricator over there. A person, and developers are also, probably most of them have learned by experience, or now have come up to an understanding that yes, we probably need a facade consultant. Okay, we don't if they don't need a facade consultant, we need a good fabricator to ensure that our building comes out in this way. Mostly more architects and designers are now putting their hands down, and they say that no, this is what we are looking for and this is what we want. So now developers are more understanding that yes, to probably get this thing we need an expert on board. We probably might need a consultant or not. If we don't need a consultant, we need a good fabricator, we need a good company to ensure that this is taken care of. That's where many places we do go up to these companies, such as for if it's an ACP company, we would come up to you people to ask whether this is okay for this thing, can this be used, and we need expert opinions as well. In terms of the escalators, yes, there's a lot of vibration of the entire machinery. So when you screw it, if you screw directly onto that, after a certain period of time, it's going to actually give way somewhere or the other. What you need to actually understand or make a system, the installation system has to incorporate is when all these vibrations and how the movement of the escalators and all the other to the entire thing is going to behave on the ACP. They are two different things. The vibrations should be taken care of inside. It should not come down to the base metal or actually the product. It should not even hinder. So when a person is looking at it, he doesn't know what's happening inside. Over a period of time, if you don't take care of these things, the entire frames or everything will somewhere deteriorate over a period of time. In certain cases, on-site fabrication has to be done, but I think it's in the bare minimum stages where it's required. But coming down the line towards the future, I think it is going to be that on-site fabrication will come to the bare minimum only in applications where we are restricted to do this in the factory. So we see this shift coming quite fast into this thing, where more and more developers and consultants are insisting on factory fabrications rather than on-site fabrications, where we can take care of minute detailing in terms of the correct methods to be used while fabricating. You can't replicate an entire factory on site. You can't replicate all the machinery required for fabrication on site. So that's when all these the quality and everything is maintained in fab. So I see this coming in soon. This is already happening in many projects where there is a lot of insistence on factory fabrication. In certain applications, in terms of maybe in some canopy applications where there is a certain amount of grooving, cutting that might be required for a last end panels. In terms of that, there might be in certain cases a pull nose fabrication or certain things where it might be particularly required. So in just the end pieces or something, you might just require corner or the panels to be cut to size or something like that. So in most of the cases, it can be probably taken care of, but there might be a certain application in a facade where it might be an issue, where on-site fabrication is required. Architects are visionaries. They just design something which comes in, and then so it's fun working on models where its complex geometry is required. So there's a lot of designing which goes into place in terms of a facade as well. So you have everyone on board in the very beginning, the architect, the consultant and the fabricator, everyone working together. So it's basically theoretical knowledge and your practical knowledge which comes to form, and to design a facade, the correct geometry that's required, or different permutation combinations that go through into the whole thing of actually making an entire facade work, that yes, this is possible and this can be done. And with this kind of facade, you need the right techniques and right understanding of it to go in place. So you need the right machineries also that might be required. And for most of the challenging projects, we all have to actually sit and brainstorm together on actually a solution to come through. And in fact, I would say that now most of the projects that are coming out with their own challenges. You have different wind speeds and you have different seismic zones to take care of, and design a facade actually to take care of that specific purposes. But we worked quite closely on many projects with the architects, and basically to remove a full. For instance, in Magarpatta city, I think it's almost been 10 years since we've done that project, but at that point of time we were working on a double skin facade, in which we have two different facades there, and we wanted to actually know that how the vacuum that's created between both the facades, and how the whole movement of the air between the two facades, and how to basically extract the warm air out of it. So at that time we have actually sat through with the architect and actually designed something which in a way that there are fresh air ducts which we've given on top. So there are exhaust fans on top which are actually pulling the warm air between the two facades out, which increases the whole performance of the facade in terms of heat insulation and sound insulation in that way. Down the line, there have been different materials which have been required for geometrical shapes of the project that's been there. So pyramid shaped facades and all, which we have worked on in different projects actually in that way, taking care of where the architect wanted an open groove system in a pyramid shape. He didn't want the silicon because he said the silicon looks bad, and taking care of it on a skylight has been a different challenge altogether. So we had actually designed a system on that part, to a self-draining system for a pyramid shaped structure, that in case there is also any water, which obviously will go through without sealant, and how it's going to do. So there have been a number of projects in that way. I think every now project that comes with a different challenge altogether. So in fact, all the other projects now coming up in terms of glazing and in the ACP, which are mostly going in with open groove systems as well. So it is the correct systems that need to be used in, and there is just basically somewhere there is a thought in everyone's mind, in the architects and developers, that if there's no silicon, that means there will be a leakage, which is not the case actually. The right system for that application will definitely address these issues. There have been products which are now which come with rain screen principles in place, and there are rare ventilated system facades which are being used in these things, and it's just the system which has to be incorporated. The correct system has to be chosen. Facade consultants, working with them has given us a different perspective altogether on a lot many things. Over the years, when we work with different facade consultants, and we've learned there have been different applications that we've come to learn, how a particular elevation or something what are the requirements basically needed for these things, which we would say that maybe we wouldn't have known otherwise. So working with facade consultants definitely has given us a lot many more perspectives towards it, in everything, in terms of different load factors to be considered, or maybe the quality measures and our way of working that's required. So there have been a lot of instances where we have come to know of new ideas and new techniques which have been possible through consultants, which we have also use in our day-to-day working as well. So now any of our it's a learning thing. So it's a learning for every new project has different expectations out of it, and a facade consultant probably has that experience on working on that project in some other country or some other project, which they are guiding us that this is how it needs to be done, so this is what we expect out of it. So it's a learning. Every project we're learning. I think there has been a tremendous, there has been a shift in terms of applications, and I see that most of the projects, like most of the consultants, most of the architects have now been putting their foot down on specifications as well, and fire rated ACP has been now it's become mandatory on a lot many projects. The fire department themselves, we've seen this in a lot many seminars where they have a representative, someone from the fire department who's been attending facade seminars and everything, and been actually speaking of the whole thing, that how the facade also has to incorporate certain fire rated principles which has to be taken care of. So I don't see this a very far off future where facade FR ACP will become mandatory in India. And abroad it is definitely everywhere it is fixed that it has to be an FR, and I don't see this very far-fetched to where it's going to be very soon where all the facade applications have to have an FR ACP. So